Overshare. This is the show where my dear friends and I come to overshare, and Jeffrey is super lame. He just plays video games. Say hello, Jeffrey.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, that's him. He's lame, but he'll be over there playing his games. He'll have a comment here and there, you know. Who's not lame? My guest that I have today on the show, the most amazing, most fabulous, Miss Desiree.
Why, hello.
Why, hello.
Customer service voice.
Yes. Yes. Desiree has spent years honing her customer service voice. She's hoping to put it to good use on the podcast today. That's right. She's feeling ready to overshare. Are you ready to overshare?
I kind of do that on a regular basis.
That's true. It's one of our things that we have in common. One of the many things that we have in common.
I overshare and I tell really long stories.
Also, yes. See? Many things in common. I told you guys. One of the other things we have in common is we grew up in a very small, tiny, little, boring town together. Tiny little town called Fountain Hills, Arizona. That's not a plug. Don't come here. We have been doomed to this hell forever. And we continue to raise our children in this hell. Like, we actually choose to do this. We don't know what's wrong with us.
Has anybody ever been trying to fix their voice so that it's as cool and soothing as yours? Because I'm super struggling right now. Is my voice as cool as Tiana's for radio?
My level of NPR. Hello, this is NPR. Just kidding. Please don't sue me, NPR. But you can definitely hire me, though.
I read children's audiobooks or something.
Gladly. Yes.
I used to work at Wells Fargo, and I would answer the phone
You had
and
a
my
customer service voice?
Well, I manage a call center for a living, so my customer service voice is on point.
Can we hear the customer service voice?
Thank you for calling. This is Desiree. How may I help you?
See, that's on point. She's right.
But when I worked at Wells Fargo, and because suburbia, and it's a small town.
Because suburbia.
Seriously, because suburbia. I'm staying on topic, right? The customers, you know them really well.
Yes.
You know the guys that come in every Friday to get cash for their workers, and you know everybody. And so they felt really comfortable. And some of them, when I would answer the phone, would be like, "Why, Desiree? I feel like I should pay you $2.99 a minute just to talk to you," or "You have a very sexy voice. You should be a phone sex operator." I'm like, "Dude,
And you're like,
can I help you leave it alone?"
because that's what I would do.
Would you like your balance? Would you like your balance?
The most shrill, anti, what men absolutely cringe.
How would you like your change?
Just channel their mother.
Oh dear God.
Just channel their mother and do that voice. It's super sexy for them.
Oh.
They love it when you do
they
that.
all have mommy issues.
Yeah.
Did you apply for another job? I know you hate your job. I'm just wondering.
Totally.
So, today, I want to talk about adventures in suburbia. You know it. You know behind the white picket fence, there's nothing but horror and dark, deep despair. But we're all smiling through it.
Do you remember when we were in school and
No.
people used to call it the Beverly Hills of Arizona?
Oh, God, no. I don't remember that.
No?
Because Paradise Valley is much more the Beverly Hills of Arizona, isn't it?
So
That's way more shishi than us.
So I used to have that happen a lot. I was a member of a club that required me to go to state, regional and state competitions and then national competitions. And anybody who was especially regional.
Well, you got to tell us what club.
Oh, I think it was called Strive when I was there. But when you were there, it was probably FCCLA.
Okay.
So it evolved in multiple names over the years that I got involved with it. And I did that right up until the end of school. And so we would go on especially regional competitions because those people know the area, right? They know Phoenix and all of that. And they'd be like, "Oh, you're from Fountain Hills?"
Yeah.
Remember we're in a fucking Taco Bell. Dude, we are all eating crappy ass tacos right now.
Yeah.
We're not more special than you. I didn't
Yeah.
go to the Ritz for tea after the competition.
It's a common misconception with the Fountain Hills is that we're all snooty and stuff. Really, it's more like a bunch of people who like to ride dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And for some reason have 12 dogs.
And they're like, "How do you
I
live
knew a
there?
lot of
It's
people
so
who had, excessive
expensive.
amounts of dogs.
How do you live there? It's
Like,
so
it's
expensive."
It's just people who don't like other people. And they like
Yes.
lots of open space and desert.
And critters.
Yeah. So that's why
I
there's a
saw
lot
the
of old people.
bobcat in your yard the other day.
Did you see that on Snapchat? The bobcat that goes through the yard?
Next time invite me over.
I should show you. There's a really majestic video that right before I took that video, the bobcat took a big poop. in the front yard.
Yes, it did.
Sorry, she was drinking her cocktail when I talked about the Bobcat poop. It was a problem. She was drinking her cocktail and then I talked about Bobcat shit. But he took a giant dump just right in our front yard. And not just in our front yard, like right by the kitchen window where we were eating our dinner. So we were eating dinner.
Will look at my shit.
And the Bobcat was like, this legit is what I think about your house being in the middle of my house. It's this shit right here that I have to give you.
Well, I told you about my very serious conversation with a scorpion this morning.
She did tell me about this.
It was very serious. And it was a baby scorpion. So I'm pretty sure there's more, you know, because big scorpions carry piles of babies on their back.
Piles.
Which
are super strong, by the way. For anybody who's listening who's not a desert dweller, the babies are just like, allow me to release all the venom in my body because I don't know any better. And they just like hurt like a motherfucker. The adults are all rational about it. They're like, you only need about this much. This ought to fuck you up. The babies are like, everything! All of it. You're just like, ow, you little asshole.
Oh my
God, scorpions are dicks, you guys.
They are.
We're
They're
not
like
super
cats.
pleased about that part. That's
Cats
the part.
are assholes.
Yeah, see? This is the part of living out in the wilderness in a small town is you're surrounded by a lot of critters.
I had a snake in my house once.
Inside the
It
house?
was in my house, and it was a baby coral snake, which do live here. They're rarely seen, but they do live here. Yeah. I found it in my bedroom. I moved. I have a really irrational fear of snakes.
That was it? That was all you needed?
And that was it. Like, I called my landlord, and I was like, I
I'm
cannot live here. It's
breaking
psychologically
my lease.
damaging. Damaging.
It's psychologically damaging. I really
Clearly.
want that to be a thing.
There you go.
See,
See,
my
there's
point.
the damage right there. That's it.
But no, I literally called my landlord. I broke my lease, and I moved, and I never slept in that house again.
That seems rational.
Yeah. Like I said,
That seems like the rational
I have a
response.
very irrational fear of snakes. It would, even if it had been a
Oh, you would have loved my house growing up.
even if it had been a non-venomous snake, I would have moved.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But
all
a coral
snakes,
snake is a mean little asshole, though.
Yeah, all snakes
Coral
should
snakes are rough.
burn in the fire pits of hell.
No, how dare you? There are a lot of nice snakes. I like a lot of snakes. Like I like a good king snake. My dad had a lot of snakes when we were growing up. We had a lot of snake pets.
The boa constrictor got loose once when I was in high school in like my freshman biology class.
That's chill.
I refused to go to class until they found it. Like, no, I'm telling you,
You
my
just file
fear,
that under psychological. I'm surprised you didn't change schools by your previous logic.
that was
about
my
the
only
apartment.
class in high school north.
Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
was it junior
So
high
you could
north?
you could file it away as long as they found the boa constrictor. You'd be all right.
Yes.
I dated a guy, and this is not like a weird euphemism. This is actually true. I dated a guy with a 10-foot boa.
Lucky
It was terrifying. No, I actually really liked that snake. She was really pretty. No, she wasn't a boa. Sorry, she was a python, a Burmese python. I'm sure he would be most
So,
offended
you know, it could swallow you. No
if he
big
heard
deal.
that. Yeah, you know, or at least a good part of my arm.
Well, you're pretty tiny.
While
I'm
I
pretty
died
sure
slowly.
that snake could unhinge its
Jaw.
jaw and just slowly consume
She
you
thinks
as they
that
do.
this 10-foot long snake could eat me, and I'm a grown woman. That's how small she thinks I am. We're just gonna put that out there. Okay, the
Well,
snake
you
could
are
probably eat like an
exceptionally
appendage,
tiny.
like an arm or a leg, but then I would just like sort of slowly die as it ate said arm or
Well, it
leg,
would
which would
suffocate
also
you
be
'cause that's what
terrifying.
they do.
Right, exactly.
So
But
you'd be
they do
dead
it
while
slowly.
it consumed you.
They do it slowly because
So gross.
fresh meat is so much better.
It's so disgusting.
So the longer they can kind of just paralyze you.
Right.
Am I helping you with your fear of snakes?
You know, I think my dreams tonight will
Is
be
this better?
so magnificent.
I hope you feel so much better right now.
I feel safe.
Good.
I
That's
feel
the
the
idea.
warmth of your love.
When my friends come to my house, I want them to feel really safe. So I find out their deepest phobia, then I tell them really scary stories. To that
Little
phobia.
shop-
So
little shop
nothing
of
has
horrors.
changed since I was 12. Nothing has changed. You know what I used to do? I would have girlfriends over and we would watch horror movies like Freddy Krueger and things that I legitimately as a 12-year-old thought were hilarious, but the other girls were
I
terrified.
know, they were awesome.
And I would creep outside I would act like I was going to the bathroom, but I would actually go outside the house and I would creep around to the window and then I would scratch the window with
monster.
her nails.
You are savage. Like,
I'm sorry. These things do bring out my evil witch cackle. They really do. And please remember that while I am terrifying these prepubescent girls, we are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they're at my house. You know, they're in my home, but our homes are in the middle of nowhere because, you know, there weren't very many people out here at that time. You know, it was a very new town. That's another thing about Fountain Hills that you have to understand about.
it is just now 50 years
where
old
we
this
grew
year.
up. Yeah, it's so imagine, you know, with Desiree and I being the age that we are. Shall we share our ages?
I am 39, almost 40.
And I am 36, 37 in December. Woohoo. So you can imagine with our ages, right, that the town being kind of out in the outskirts, being only 50 years old right now, that back when we were growing up, it was pretty vacant in a lot of areas.
Yes.
Like it was pretty open and wild and a lot of dirt roads. When we first moved here, I remember a lot of the roads weren't even paved yet.
Yes.
So that was another part of living here I found was like the growth that happened.
And there were no stoplights.
nope.
The one stoplight
All
at
stop
Shea.
signs. Yeah, that's right.
There was a stoplight at Shea.
And that was the only gas station, remember? Circle
and
K.
we really didn't even have that many stop signs.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there were only like maybe 4 or something like that.
Like, I remember when they put in the stoplight at Palisades and Fountain Hills Boulevard.
Oh yes, that was such a big deal. We were like, we
Right.
have one inside of town. now. There's actually, yeah,
We're so big.
so sophisticated. We do
And we
have the
got, like,
fountain. The fountain is
the
our claim
fountain.
to fame.
Yes.
It's a really lame claim to fame. I like that rhyme right there.
It is, especially now, because like they don't run it even half. Like, do they even run it at half speed anymore?
I think it depends on the day and the wind. And the main reason that depends on the day and the wind is because it is recycled poop water.
Yummy.
It's reclaimed sewage water that they are firing into the air. Hundreds of feet into the air. So if
But-
it's windy, that's not a good idea.
But every Thanksgiving they turn it green.
Oh, no, not St.
Thanksgiving,
Patrick's
St.
Day.
Patrick's Day.
That would be super random if it was Thanksgiving. I would love that, though.
Oh my
I'd
God,
be like,
that
I
would be
like things that
amazing.
make no sense.
Can
Thank
we
you.
turn it orange
Just
for Thanksgiving?
I mean, why not at this point? We're turning it green for St. Patty's Day. Although green seems more like an accurate depiction of what's actually going on inside the
Yeah.
water.
Do you remember last St. Patty's Day? What happened?
Yes, I do remember.
Uh-oh.
Obviously not this past one because we were all locked inside, but the previous one, we went to the fountain, and because so many people come to the fountain, just generally, you know, it's a big tourist attraction. It used to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. Once upon a time, it was the biggest fountain in the world, right, for a while. The tallest fountain in the world. And after a while, we lost that title. But that didn't change the excitement of many, many middle American people who are very pumped to come see our fountain when they come to Arizona. And so a lot of people come from all around the valley, and a lot of the snowbirds. Snowbirds, it's a Arizona term. They live here only when it's warm because they're pussies. Not when it's hot.
It hurts
Just
their
when it's
old
warm.
bones.
See, there's warm and there's hot, and they only live here when it's warm because they suck.
Yeah, they
We
come
love you,
after the heat
snowbirds.
leaves.
You're so good for the economy, but we
So
also
good
hate
for
you.
the economy.
We also hate you, though.
We
So the
also
snowbirds
hate
are
that
all
you
here
also do
'cause it's
not
March.
know how to use a four-way stop.
Just what is wrong with you? So it's March, so they're all still here, and this is like one
Right.
of their last hurrahs before they leave, and everybody's like,
training.
"Yay, let's all go spring training, St. Patty's Day. This is the shit they want to do." And they shoot the fountain up in the air, and it's green, and it is windy that day, and you know, wind be damned, it's St. Patrick's Day, and they've got a couple thousand people in the park, and they're just gonna run it anyways, and we are legit all hiding behind food trucks with our children. I'm not kidding you, Desiree, because we know because we're from the
gross.
town, and all the people
Right.
who aren't from
They're
the town.
wondering why you're hiding.
That's where you know the not Fountain Hills people from the Fountain Hills people. Because all the not Fountain Hills people are like, oh, it's just nothing but a sprinkling of water. Allow me to keep taking my Instagram photos. And all the Fountain Hills people are like, run! Take your children!
So
It's
bad.
poop water!
So bad.
It's pretty bad. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that
There
little
used to be
spurt.
okay, so there used to be this duck.
Ooh.
You know, there's ducks there. And geese.
Unfortunately for the ducks, yes.
And I hear that there are koi fish in it now.
Yes. People
is-
people like to release pets into the fountain, typical
Yeah.
of any town, small town, lake or pond.
So there was this duck, and I called it, and you're gonna get a mental image a little bit, hopefully, in your head. I called him the mutated rooster duck
Okay.
because the
Okay.
water is toxic sludge.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
But this duck legit had a rooster waddle. He had like a
That's
white,
not right.
like he almost looked like a mallard, like the brown and green on the back, but then like had a white head and a waddle like a rooster.
That seems normal.
And so I called him the mutated rooster duck, and I'm pretty sure for several years he lived in that park.
Oh, I'm sure.
I wonder whatever happened to the poor mutated Mr. Rooster Duck.
There were jokes from when we were children about like when you watch The Simpsons and they have like the three-eyed fish from the river and all that we would
Fountain
always
Hills.
joke when we were children that was the fish in the lake in the
Yes.
fountain. Like every once in a while you see some weird, random, potentially partially psychosis suffering person
Swimming
who's
in
fishing. Oh no. Swimming's a whole nother level, but there's also fishing because now you're going to imbibe that and eat it for some reason.
it. You know what the
You have to
greatest
actually
thing?
put signs that are like, please don't fish.
Yeah, the greatest thing about Fountain Hills Connection, which is the town resident Facebook page, in which is like the most awful and yet glorious train wreck
Solid
ever
gold.
to follow.
It's solid gold.
But the other day I saw a post and there was some guy waist deep in Fountain Lake. Somebody snapped a picture and put it on Fountain Hills Connection. Like, saw this at the fountain today.
Yeah. That's an entertainment for people from Fountain Hills. They're like, look at this jackass cruised into our town, thought they'd be safe to go in the water. Idiot.
What's that? One of those John Grisham books, you know?
You guys
where,
want to
like,
take guys
suddenly-
want to take bets on how many years till he gets cancer? Let's
Right.
take bets on how many years till he
So
gets
so you know, we're in a John Grisham novel all of a sudden, like with a class action lawsuit.
Exactly. We're not far from that. I mean,
so
thank
not.
God for the signs, right? Please don't go in the water. I know it's bright green, slightly poop colored, floating with amoebas on the surface. Texture and color is really comforting and inviting to you. But please try not to swim or fish in it. Like, the fuck? That's what I think as a Fountain Hills resident. When I look at it, I think, who comes here and even needs to see the sign? Because who the fuck would even go in that water?
Right.
That looks like the most uninviting possible water that you could ever. Somebody could tell me, I'll give you $1,000 to get in this water right now without any context. Just looking at the water, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing it. Fuck
You're
that
like,
shit.
oh, your wallet fell in? Leave it.
Your child fell in, you'll have another one.
You're still of childbearing years.
Your dog fell in, he's part fish now. Just accept it. I mean, I remember you told me that when you came over here for the first time, you drove right past your childhood home on your way here.
Right down the street from here.
And that's pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, and I can remember a lot of the people that lived in the various houses.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of people that we know that live around here. I know Jessica Miller now at Barksdale
Yep.
previously lives right there. And I've told you her boys love to
Throw pool water.
throw pool water on my children from over the wall. Of course, my children love this, by the way. And her boys are polite enough and sweet enough to ask. They'll actually be like, is it cool? Do you guys want us to do this? And our children are like, yay, pool water. It's pretty exciting.
Because having a pool in Fountain Hills is like...
Yeah, we don't have one. So they're pretty jazzed about that. So
I have the community pool at my condo complex. It's actually quite a nice little pool.
hey, that's something. Yeah. It's nice to
Yeah,
have
and it has
access.
a hot tub.
I'm glad
which
to
I
have access
dig.
to my mom's. At least that's a thing. Ooh, hot tub. See, we don't have that at my mom's. We
Come
need
to
a
my
hot tub.
house. I can have up to 4 guests.
Noted. Oh, and then of course, as we all know, Nathan Bell's parents built this house. So a friend of mine, everybody who's listening, a friend of ours from high school's parents built the house that Jeff and I purchased, and we had no idea at the time. We posted pictures on Facebook like, "Yay, we purchased a home," and he was like, that's the house my parents built."
Well,
I grew
even
up
my
there.
condo complex, despite like when I moved in, I knew like 3 people that live there. And I was like, oh, hey, look, we're neighbors now. That's cool.
Super convenient. Yeah. So basically what we're saying is the theme song for Fountain Hills is It's a small world after all.
Or like a really bad movie
It's a
tagline of
small-
everyone's lived in your house.
Yeah, it's very, but it is that way though. Like I told Jeffrey when I first moved here, I was like, you don't even know how many houses in this town I've been in. I've been in that house. I've been in that house. I've been in that house. Like
Oh my
when you grow up
gosh.
here and you know, you just you
Yeah.
hang out with people. You
I've
know
lived in
people,
a lot
you
of
know people's
houses.
families.
Well, and then having my ex-husband and his family here. His mom now lives in the house that his grandparents, you know, bought in the 70s. But like, I'm like, oh, your grandmother, I'm telling my daughter, your grandmother used to live there, which coincidentally is right next door to our friend DJ,
Of course.
who also lives next door to my dear friend Jean.
Oh, DJ. You know,
There's your small town.
it's very small town, and we love DJ. Jeff and I are big DJ fans. So
Yes.
we have to say that. DJ was in my grade, and he was always very close with Maris, who is another person who will be coming up on the podcast, who I also adore. And of course, I have to do my shameless plug at this point for Bonehouse, which is where DJ works.
Bonehouse.
Bonehouse is everything.
It is amazing.
It is pretty delicious. If
So
anybody, if you
delicious.
live in Fountain Hills or near Fountain Hills,
Or even if you don't live near Fountain Hills.
right? If you see it around, because they're getting distributed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that I go to a
Bonehouse.
restaurant and I can be like, I'm getting a Bonehouse beer right now.
It's pretty fancy. Pretty
If there were
fancy.
really reasons to go into restaurants right now.
Yeah.
Fuck COVID.
Wistful sigh.
Fuck COVID.
Fuck COVID, indeed. But yes, this was a beautiful brewery that everybody should try. And if you are lucky enough to see DJ there when you stop by, say hi for Desiree.
I would tell you to look for
because
the
he's
guy with the
awesome.
beard, but there's two problems with that.
Yeah.
The mask.
The mask, but then also he has shaved his beard recently. And so,
The old guy with the really big beard too.
yeah, the older guy. Oh, what is his name? Sam.
Sam.
I think his name is Sam. If it's not Sam, I'm really sorry, Bonehouse, but I do love you. The owner, I believe, is Keith. I ran into him at the post office. And I'm standing in line at the post office filling out my stuff, and I look up, and there he is. And I was like, hey, how's it going? Cool. Now I really want a fucking beer.
Yeah.
And
Thank
he
you for
says,
reminding me about how delicious your beer is
I
with
know.
your face.
And you know what he says to
I really
me?
appreciate that.
He says, I get that a lot.
Well, that's what happens when you have a damn good product. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
He
But
says,
we're lucky. I'm glad we
I
have
get
that
that a
place
lot.
now. That was not like a
Yes.
thing when we grew up. There was not like a cool brewery in town. It's relatively
Well, not that
new
we
for
were old
us.
enough. They've been open-
I had a fake ID, so I
I
could have
did
dodged
not.
on in there.
I
Yes.
have never had a fake ID in all my life.
Well,
That-
but I also, in my defense, I had a lot of boyfriends that were musicians. And they played songs that were sometimes written about me, and I needed to be there. It was very important that I was there.
No, I wish somebody would write a song about me.
Oh, it was very romantic. I played one for my students today while we were, not like purposely, it just came up on a shuffle while we were all painting. And I was like, I just want you guys all to know that my boyfriend wrote this song about me. And they're like, I can't really hear because it's like kind of a punk rock song, so you can't hear entirely what he's saying. Super shitty recording. And I was like, you'll get the chorus. And the chorus comes in. It's like, love is hell. Love is hell. Everyone in the room just started laughing. I was like, in case you want to know what it was like to be in a relationship with me.
My goodness.
Here's my ex-boyfriend singing about it.
I always thought like it would be really and that brings up an interesting point because I was like it's really nice if somebody writes a song about you, but like what if they're writing a song about you that's like you were the worst human
Yeah, there was a
ever, and
mix.
you destroyed their lives.
There was a mix, and I want to tell you right now and right here that I was equally flattered by both.
like the only song about
Oh, did I fuck with you enough to write a song about how much you hate me? That's adorable.
you're cute.
It's actually kind of hot. Oh, human relationships.
Oh dear.
Whew, it's like getting off a roller coaster ride, but you're not. It's just the sick part without any of the fun.
It's like And I love
Oh,
these.
I'm gonna vomit. Was that
Don't
fun?
get me wrong.
No.
I love these rides, but it's like the Tower of Terror, where like, okay, so when my daughter was 6, I took her to Disneyland for the first time, and I took her on the Tower of Terror, and I was like, "Don't worry." She's like,
It'll
"Mom,
be
it's so
fine."
scary." She was so terrified, and I was like, "It's fine. You're gonna have
Don't
so
be
much."
a pussy.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't be a pussy. That's my motto. She actually says that to my friend all the time. My best friend, she's like, "Don't be a pussy." No, she does it because
See?
it gets a reaction out of him, and like it's a thing now. But
It's like a whole thing.
it's a
between
whole
them.
thing, and there's
There's animosity, but there's also not.
there's
It's very
so much
interesting.
love, but there's punching. it's very strange, but
They're
it's my
close to
life.
slapping each other or hugging. We don't know.
Yes, but these are my 2 favorite humans. Well, outside of my family, but like my 2 favorite non-family humans. Except my daughter has family.
Family humans. Oh
Not-
yeah.
Ooh, can we write a
your,
song?
your daughter is family. Totally forgot about that.
I know, but she's an adult.
Thank you for reminding me.
Here's the thing. It's one big drop. It's going to be over before you know it. You'll get to the bottom and you'll want to do it again. What I failed to tell her, because I failed to remember, is that you drop more than once in the Tower of Terror.
That's how they release the tension on the hydraulic system.
Right. So you
Sorry,
drop
that's
the
my
one
nerd
time
shining right there.
really hard and fast, and then you go back up and it drops again, and my daughter's screaming at me, "You told me it was one
dirty
drop.
liar."
You dirtbag."
You should have just been like, hydraulic.
She was 6.
You could have gotten the dictionary out for her afterwards.
She was 6.
And like, I have a dictionary for you. I'll explain how hydraulics work.
I've always been a
But
big proponent of like
Anytime there's a drop ride, sweetheart, there's always
Yes.
going to be multiple drops, because it would be dangerous just to let people drop like a dead drop. There has to be some kind of tension release.
right.
I know. That's the nerd in me.
Hashtag science.
That's the nerd who worked at a theme park design firm for a couple of years.
Hashtag science.
That's the Imagineer in Tiana shining out right there. Sorry.
She's so beautiful.
Oh yeah. I wish we had more time, but we will invite Miss Desiree back
And more wine.
on the podcast with more wine and more pie, and we will talk more about the tea of life, because I love you.
I love you.
And I love your
Thank
soul.
you
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate
so
you.
much. I had so much fun.
See, look at you with your customer service voice.
Ooh.
That sounds very soothing. I feel relaxed.
Do you? Can I
I'm
read
gonna be
children's books?
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna be taken care of. Please take care of me, Desiree.
I will mother you.
Hold me against your bosom. Yes.
Twice.
Okay, that's the part where we go, so I can be held against Desiree's bosom. You don't wanna know. Goodbye. And thank you guys all for listening. And please tune in next week, where I'm going to have another special guest, Mr. John Summers. He's another friend of ours from high school. We also go way back. He and I are going to have a little arty talk. A little arty talk, artist to artist. He's a very talented DJ and musician in general. So that should be fun. I hope that you guys join us for that. In the meantime, I hope that you take care of yourselves and each other. And please always remember that love always wins. Bye, guys.